the 13th Part 5 is my favorite Jason movie. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Christian Hannah Horror here today, and we're talking about one of my favorite slasher movies ever. I've got to talk about this movie because it deserves it. Quite frankly, it deserves it. Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, one of the best in the Friday the 13th franchise. And we're going to dive into that because I'm going to give you guys 5 reasons why you need to watch this movie on today's episode of Surviving the Sequels. Let's go. Reason number 1, sleaze, sleaze, and more sleaze. It's really interesting that this movie has the vibe that it does because, quite honestly, it's almost like a snuff film that's just in disguise, or a really highly budgeted snuff film, if you will. Characters in this are all just, society's misunderstood, to put it in terms, to put it in a nice way. But you know what's interesting is, despite that, every character in this movie, it's easier to relate to some of these characters you would initially think it would be based on the way these characters are. But every character in this movie is identifiable, is unique, and despite the fact that there is sleaze, everybody's having sex, everybody's doing whatever they want to, they're still easy to get behind, and you're still easy to care about these characters. But the element in this movie of just low class and sleaze is not seen ever again in the Friday the 13th films like it is in Part 5. That should be reason enough right there. But there's one reason for you. The second reason you guys need to watch Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning, is Demon. That's right. Demon is probably one of the most beloved horror characters in any of the Friday the 13th movies. Here's a guy who shows up in his rock and roll looking van, traveling van. His little brother is going to see him, and he's got plates of Mexican food in his van. It's just, you want a burrito, you want a taco, and they're plates. They look like real restaurant plates. What is he doing with plates in his van like that? He's dressed really cool. He's got all kinds of rings. He's got his girlfriend in there, and he's so suave. And his death scene, you'll never see that again in a Friday the 13th movie. The fact that this guy gets killed while he's going number 2 on the toilet in an outhouse. Like, only Danny Steinman, only Friday the 13th Part 5. It's got to be one of the greatest kills and scenes in the Friday the 13th movies, period. Miguel Nunez, you made my top 5 list for this movie. The third reason you guys need to watch this movie is the kills. That's right, despite the fact that it's not our beloved Jason Voorhees, Roy Burns is able to just beat down people in a very brutal, violent way. You gotta remember too in this movie that the guy who was chopping the wood in the beginning destroys Joey because of the chocolate bar, and it's gotta be one of the most brutal things in the entire franchise, period. He's just axing him away and chops his body all the way up. I always wondered, how long was he chopping Joey before somebody finally came and stopped him? Because this dude's body was in pieces, like literal pieces. But you've got flare guns in the mouth. You've got axes just violently to the head. You've got some of the most brutal kills, even in the beginning. The way Jason is coming out of the grave in the dream sequence, and the boom, the machete to the stomach. Just brutal stuff. This is a great slasher movie at the end of the day, despite the fact that Jason's not in this. You get the blood, the guts, the gore, the suspense, and it delivers on all counts. So Friday the 13th Part 5 is definitely worth it for the kills. The fourth reason you guys need to watch this movie is because it delivers like any other Friday the 13th movie. Yes, even though it's not Jason, it's Roy Burns. I've heard testaments of people going to the theater saying this, and they all pretty much said the same thing. And even people that watched the movie for the first time like me. I was digging it right up until the end when you found out that it wasn't Jason. So when you go back and you reassess that mindset, it's just like, well, I really still did enjoy the film because it delivered. It was just the fact that it wasn't Jason that really just take a lean back and be like, what's going on? And revisiting this movie countless times after all these years, you realize that this movie delivers, and now we love Roy Burns. So a lot of people love Roy. I've got a life size right behind my camera right here. He's my baby. I love Roy Burns. Roy Burns has now become a cult favorite, And this movie absolutely delivers on all accounts. Like we said, the characters, they're different, but they're great. The gore, the kills, the suspense, it's everything. It's an entire package. It's this sleazy atmosphere of kids at camp, and you wouldn't change anything, but it delivers, and that's the most important thing, and it belongs in the Friday the 13th family. The fifth and final reason you guys need to watch this movie is, simply put, just like Halloween 3, it's the black sheep. Black sheeps in franchises, they stick out for better or for worse. And when it comes to being a black sheep of a horror franchise, you've got Halloween 3 for Halloween. You've got Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 for Nightmare on Elm Street. When it comes to slasher movies and the black sheep of this franchise, Friday the 13th Part 5 is just absolutely brilliant. I think it's probably my second favorite of the franchise. And Friday the 13th Part 5, it's about time more people started sticking up for this movie. It's not as bad as it used to be. People used to just destroy this movie in the same way they did Halloween 3. But you gotta realize that this movie delivers. I mean, it gives you everything a Friday the 13th fan wants besides Jason, but it does it in a clever way. I didn't see it coming when I was watching the movie. Even though the fact that you think about, well, how did Jason get a different colored jumpsuit? When did Jason get a different colored hockey mask? But now it's just like, it's a symbol of hardcore fanism when you see somebody wear a shirt like this, Give Me Five, which is obviously the Roy Burns shirt, or you see a horror collector have a Roy Burns mask on his wall. It's like a symbol of, hey, yeah, we love this movie, we love Friday the 13th Part 5. And Black Sheeps now are good. It's good to have that different turn in the road every now and again in a horror movie franchise. It's kind of refreshing. Let's say you're marathoning the movies. Well, by the time you get to Part 4, you've looked at this incredible story that really does have a solid book end. So getting to Part 5, would it be more aggravating to not have Jason, or more aggravating to have Jason come right back to life even though he was clearly killed? I like the way it went down. I love Friday the 13th Part 5, and we love Reggie the Reckless. So there it is, guys. That's 5 reasons you guys need to watch Friday the 13th Part 5. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this movie already, but for some reason you have not, and you're just a casual movie fan checking out this video. I've obviously spoiled it a little bit for you, but look, Friday the 13th Part 5, a slasher movie that delivers on all accounts, and that's all I want to say about that. So thank you guys for watching. That's 5 reasons you need to watch Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Please be sure to subscribe to Christian Hannah Horror for more cool videos just like this. Also, be sure to hit the bell, that way you never miss an upload. I've also launched a Teespring with new merchandise and Christian Hannah Horror shirts. That link is in the description below. Don't mind, drop a comment, let me know what you think about this, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Until next time, this is Christian Hannah Horror.